How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, our known coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And as always, if you guys do want access to the private repository, there's a link in the description down below that'll walk you through exactly how to get access to that. Now, last episode, I went ahead and made some audio settings. Hopefully the last episode sounds good. Whenever I was watching through, it did sound pretty good to me. I didn't really hear myself breathing in or anything like that, so that's pretty good. However, there was some a few weird audio pauses, but I'm hoping that with music and everything, that should be fine. So we'll see how these episodes edit up. I think that the audio sounds fine. Let me know if it doesn't, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue using these settings. So that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today we're gonna continue working on our messages here. Obviously I just started up the server, so I'm gonna add in some messages, but if you go ahead and click on a message and you hover over it, there's a little icon that goes up to the side that you can either react to it, or you can go ahead and reply, delete it, or do a couple other things. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and work on today. Let me go ahead and open up Postman, get a conversation going here really quickly, and then I'll meet you guys inside the code. So today we're going to be starting out inside of our message container. We need to set up a couple pieces of state to be able to actually use this new functionality. Let's go ahead and come here underneath our const conversation and set up a few pieces of state. I'll have to come back in and do some more state a little bit later on, but for now we're just going to go ahead and say const, and it's going to say message hover and set message hover. And this is going to equal to use state, use state. Make sure that's imported, and then this is going to be a boolean that we will set to false to start. And then we'll also have a const, and this is going to be display more and set display more equal to use state. If I could type, that'd be cool. Boolean, and then this is also going to be false. And then we'll also have a const, one more for now, display react, and it's going to be set display react equal to use state boolean, and then once again it'll be false. There we go. So that's good to go. And then we need to go ahead and set up a couple of functions. I'm just going to go ahead and set them up down here for now. So it's going to say const message more is equal to an arrow function, and then in here we're going to go ahead and say set display more to true. So this is how we're going to go ahead and enable this. We'll also go ahead and say set or const, react, which is going to be equal to an arrow function. And then inside of our arrow function, we're just going to go ahead and say set display react to true. Now we're going to come back through and make some more changes to this guy. And I guess this isn't working. There it goes. I was going to say we should be able to get pulled in because it's lowercase. I don't know what's complaining. We're going to do a little bit more work on this later on, or maybe in the next episode. We'll see how long this episode goes for. And then next we're going to go to our message container. I'm going to go and say on mouse over equal to an arrow function. If I could do an arrow function right, let me make sure I do this properly. Otherwise, I'll be scratching my head why it's not working. And then we're going to go ahead and say set message hover to true. And then we're also going to go ahead and have an on mouse leave. So whenever the mouse leaves, we're also going to go ahead and get rid of this. Let's go ahead and make another arrow function that's going to say set message hover to false. So it's going to go ahead and turn on the hover and turn off the hover, and we'll see what that does in a little bit. And then now the next part is the complicated part that I need to make sure I get done properly. So I believe we do this right here, right beside the content group. It says about line 111, but we're missing some code here. So I think it goes right here. I'm going to add some curly braces, and then inside we're going to go ahead and say parentheses message hover, or our display react, or our display more. So if any of these are active, we're going to go ahead and display a div with a class name equal to message dash content dash options. And inside this div, let's go ahead and clean this up. We're going to have another div, and here inside this div, we're going to go ahead, and I don't know why I have it set up display this way. It's a little bit weird, but it is what it is. We're going to have display react, and then here we'd want a modal, but for now we're just going to go ahead and put this, and we're just going to say display react modal for now. And then underneath this we're going to have another div, the class name equal to, and this is going to be message dash container dash content dash option dash wrapper. And then inside here, we're going to have it on click equal to, and here we're going to go ahead and call that React function. And then ID is going to be equal to message React, like so. And then inside here, we're going to go ahead and we need an SVG that we don't have yet. So we're going to go ahead and come back to that. And then we're going to have another div with a class name equal to message dash content dash option wrapper. And I think I messed something up here because here I have container content, but the other ones I don't. So interesting. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this container because I don't see it on here. So content and then option wrapper. I would have probably messed something up if I didn't do that. Here, our on click is going to equal to message more. And then on mouse leave, we're going to go ahead and basically set this to false. I guess I remembered to set up a way to turn off the React, but it's fine. We'll fix it later. We're going to go ahead and set display to false, do this. And then here we'll have display more. And then once again, we will just go ahead and have a fragment. Eventually, this is going to have to be a modal that we'll create. So this will be message more modal. We'll set that up in a sec. And then here, we're going to go ahead and use more horizontal. So it's going to come from Material UI. SX is equal to, and we're going to have a height, maybe, equal to 20px. We're going to have a width equal to 20px, and we're going to have a color equal to, and then pound 567786. Let's go ahead and close this guy off. And now if I actually put everything in the right spot, it should be looking pretty good, other than the fact that we need to add in the new SVGs. That's the word for it. And let me make sure I go ahead and display more here. I'm going to go and save that. So let's go ahead and grab this SVG. I'll show you guys where to get this at. Let me log into Twitter really quick and I'll open up my private conversation, testing conversation. Show you guys where to get this React SVG. I'm going to go ahead and deal with that. So let's just go ahead and say space E, go into our components, go into our SVGs, and just make this really quick. So React SVG. .tsx. Go ahead and hop in here. We'll import our SVG props. So SVG props for our global interfaces. So export default, maybe I could type function and then SVG. This is React SVG, and go ahead and say our props, our SVG props return. And then I'll see you guys on Twitter. So this one is going to be a little bit more difficult to get working. So we're going to go ahead and inspect, because whenever you hover over it, this is a React one. So we're going to have to go ahead and do this. If you click on here, you should be able to kind of go through here. So we'll go to our div, and here you can see kind of our little reaction area. And then here, it's this first div, I believe. And we can go in here, go into our button, go into div. I know this is really small, but it's going to be this SVG. We'll go ahead and copy, and then copy element. Let's go ahead and paste it in. So just go ahead and come back in here, paste in that, and let me go ahead and clean this up, and I'll be right back. Now we are ready to go ahead and delete this class out of here. After this class again, let's go ahead and say height is equal to props.height. We'll say width is equal to props.width. And we'll go ahead and come down here and set up the fill. So fill will equal to props.color question mark. So this will be props.color if it exists. Otherwise, we'll just do pound000, which should be black. So that's good to go. Let's hop back into our message container and bring this in. So now in the same spot, we'll go ahead and say React, SVG, go ahead and bring that in. And then here, we're going to say height is equal to 20. We'll say width is equal to 20. We'll go ahead and say color, if I could type, is equal to pound, and then 567786, like so. That looks good. So right now, it's probably not going to look that good, so I'm not going to show it off yet. Let's go ahead and just hop into the CSS for our message container, and then just fix this up so it looks a little bit better. So let's hop into that message container CSS. So here, let's just go ahead and go to the bottom. We're going to say dot message dash content dash options. And inside here, we'll have a width of 75px. We're going to have a height of 36px. We're going to have a display of flex justify content, and this is just going to be space dash evenly. We're going to go ahead and align items. If I could type, I cannot type this morning. I'm sorry, guys. In the center, and then we'll have a margin on the bottom. Oh my goodness. I just deleted our curly brace of 8px. And let me go ahead and fix this up. I cannot type today. We'll have a dot message dash content dash option dash wrapper. I don't remember why we had to wrap the React again, but I'm going to assume that we need it, so I'm not going to delete it. So width here will be 36 px. Our height will be 36 px. We're going to have a display of flex. And then our justify content will be in the center. Our align items will be in the center. Our position on this one will be relative. We're going to go ahead and have a border dash radius 100%. And we're going to have a border of none. So go ahead and fix that up. And then looks like I spelled margin bottom wrong. Yep, I forgot a T, so let's go ahead and fix that up before the margin bottom doesn't work. Looks good. And we just have one more. Dot message dash content. And I spelled message wrong. My goodness, my fingers are not working on a Monday morning. Option dash wrapper hover. And then here we'll have cursor pointer. And we'll also have background dash color RGBA of 000. And then actually, no, it's not 000. It's actually going to be blue. So 29, 161, 242, 0.2. So there we go. That's our hover. So now if I actually set this up properly, we should be able to see the options pop up on the left. Now, I don't know if I set it up properly. I might need to go back into GitHub, make sure all the code looks good because there's some code missing. Let's go ahead and just hop into the front end and see if it looks okay. And then we'll go ahead and get that message more modal popped up and working after that. So if we go ahead and refresh this, just to make sure our code changes are in, let's go ahead and just send Rick a quick message to Rick. And then go ahead and run. I think I was having an issue with the sizing of this. Okay, so this is definitely not working because as you can see, whenever we hover over, it's all the way down here. That means I didn't quite put it in the right place. Let me go ahead and double check the GitHub to see where this code goes. But this part's looking good. And if we click on this, you can see that these pop up like they're supposed to, but it's just not in the right location. So let me go ahead and double check where the code actually goes, and we'll get this fixed and go ahead and get it so we can go ahead and get this more modal popping up. So I think I just have it one too far. We want inside the same div as above. So let's go ahead and move this up one div like so. Let's go ahead and format that to make it look prettier. So this is how it's looking inside of GitHub. So now let's go ahead and check it out and just make sure it looks good. Now if we just refresh one more time, open this guy up and hover, there we go. It looks a lot better and it looks a little bit off right now, but I think it should be good. I don't know why it's like not centering quite perfectly, but I'm going to call it good, especially whenever you get longer messages, it looks fine. And then whenever you click on these, obviously they're not working 100% because they don't quite show up where they're supposed to, but we put it as a relative position. So next time, whenever we work on this, or not next time, whenever we do work on this right now, it's going to be an absolute position. It'll go above and it won't move stuff around. So with that being said, let's hop back into the code and get our message more modal working so we can go ahead and get this pop-up working. Go ahead and space E to open up our Explorer. Let's go and make a new component. So it's going to be message more modal.ts, actually slash message more modal.tsx. Go ahead and say message more modal. Whoops. If I could type .css, let's go and hop into here. Now this is a pretty simple one. We're going to go ahead and import React from React. Let's go and also import our / and message more modal.css. Export, and then this will be message, or actually let's say const message more modal, and this will be a react.fc. And I think we need a prop for this, so we'll set up the prop here in a second, and then we'll go ahead and return it really quick. And then here we'll just have a div, the class name equal to, and this is message more modal. There we go. And then let's go ahead and set up an interface. So interface, And this is going to be message more modal props. And inside, we're just going to go ahead and set up a few click handlers. No, I could have done this like in a global state or something, but I wanted to keep it inside the message area. So we're going to go ahead and set up a handle reply clicked. And this will be an e react.mouse event. And this is going to be on HTML div element. And then here, this will just be a void. Oh my goodness, can't type. And then we'll also go ahead and have a handle copy clicked. And this will be also an e react.mouse event. And this will be on an HTML div element as well. And this will also be a void. And then finally, we'll have handle, and this will be delete clicked. And this will be an e react.mouse event. And on an HTML div element, and this will also be a void. So we're going to go ahead and just pass in the functionality from our message container, and that's good to go. And then inside of here is all basically just going to be straight up HTML. We're going to have a div class name equal to, and this is going to be message dash more dash modal option group. And then here we're just going to have handle reply. Actually, I need the on click, silly. So on click is equal to handle reply clicked. I need to bring this in. That's why it's not showing up. Let's go ahead and bring in these props really quick. So FC, and then this will be message more modal props. There we go. And let's go ahead and bring these in. So we'll have our handle reply clicked. We'll have our handle copy clicked. We'll have our handle delete clicked. There we go. Now we have our handle reply clicked. We'll have another div with a class name equal to message dash more modal option group. And then here on click will equal to, and this one will be handle copy clicked. And then we'll have one more div class name equal to message dash more modal option dash group. And here on click will equal to handle delete clicked. And then now we need to go ahead and bring in some SVGs. So here we'll have a reply SVG. Here we'll have our copy message SVG, and then here we'll have delete message, and this is actually says delete for you. So now we need to go back onto Twitter and basically yoink all of these SVGs, which isn't very fun, but it is what it is. So let's hop back onto Twitter. I'll show you guys where to get these. We'll go ahead and bring them in. We'll get them put in here, and we'll make sure everything looks good. So I'll see you guys on Twitter once again. So here we are. Whenever we go ahead and click on the more option, you can go ahead and see we have reply, copy message, and delete for you. So that's where we're going to go ahead and steal. So let's go ahead and start out with reply. So we go ahead and copy this, go into our SVG here, go ahead and say copy element, and then let's hop into the code. So let's go ahead and space E. Let's come back up to our components here, say A, and this one is going to be called copy message svg.tsx. Go ahead and go ahead and hop in here, and then we'll go ahead and import our SVG packet type props. I got from the wrong area. SVG props. I'm sorry, this episode is a disaster. We'll go ahead and export default function, and this one is copy message SVG. And we'll go ahead and say props are SVG props, and then let's go ahead and return. And then go ahead and paste in SVG. Let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit. All right, so now let's go ahead and get rid of this class that we no longer need. We'll go ahead and say height is equal to props.height. Go ahead and say width is equal to, props.width. Then we'll go ahead and set the fill. So fill is equal to props.color, question mark. So this will be props.color. Otherwise, it'll be #000. So that one is good to go. Let's go in space E, go into our SVG. So let's go ahead and create the delete message svg.tsx. Go ahead and import our SVG props. Let's go ahead and export default function. So export default function, and this is delete. I can type message svg. Go ahead and say props are svg props. Return. Let's hop back onto Twitter. So here, this one will be, I guess we shouldn't copy first. I'm just going in alphabetical order. Go and copy this SVG here. And let's go ahead and copy elements. Let's go ahead and paste it in here. I'll go ahead and clean it up really quick. Looks good. Once again, let's go ahead and get rid of this class here. We don't need it. And we'll say height is equal to props.height. We'll say width is equal to props.width. If I can spell width right, and then we'll go ahead and set up our fill. So fill is equal to props.color, question mark, props.color. Otherwise, #000. That's good to go. Go ahead and open up our Explorer once more. Go ahead and say A, and then we're going to go ahead and say message reply svg.tsx. Last one. Go and import our SVG props. I know this isn't the most fun thing to do, but these don't exist in Material UI, so we need them. Go and export default function, and this is message reply svg. Go ahead and say props are svg props in return. Pop back onto Twitter one more time. Now this one is right here, so let's go ahead and hover over the SVG. Go and right click, copy, and copy element. Go ahead and paste this guy in here and clean it up once again. Let's go ahead and get rid of this class that we no longer need. You guys know the drill at this point. Height is equal to props.height, and width is equal to props.width. Let me go and fix this. I can't type today. And then we'll go ahead and have our fill. Fill is equal to props.color, question mark, props.color. Otherwise, we'll do #000, which is just black. All right, so that should be all of our SVGs we have to set up today. I know there's quite a bit, but what can you do? And now let's go ahead and hop back into that message more modal component. So now we need to go ahead and fill these in. So the first one's reply, and that means we need to go ahead and bring in our message reply SVG. Here, height is going to equal to 20. Our width will equal to 20. And then our color is just going to be black. So I could have just left this off, but it is what it is. So that one looks good. Next, we need our copy message. So once again, go ahead and say message. And then I thought this was called message copy, but it's called copy message. There we go. Copy message SVG. Height is equal to 20. Width is equal to 20. And once again, color we could have skipped, but I went ahead and filled it out anyway. And then finally, we need delete for you. So here we'll have delete message SVG. We'll have a height equal to 20. We'll have a width equal to 20. And we'll have a color equal to black. Cool, so that is all this guy's gonna do. And then since we put all of the on-click passed in as props, we'll go ahead and deal with those inside the mesh container in a different episode. So now all we have left to do for this guy is just go ahead and set up the CSS for our message more modal, and then make sure it looks good. And then of course, put it inside of our message container. That way we can see it. Let's hop into the CSS and get that working. This should be somewhat simple. We'll start with .message-more-modal. And then here I'll have a width equal to 168 px. We'll have a height equal to 132 px. And then we'll have a box dash shadow of RGBA be 0, 0, 0.2. So I'm gonna have 0 px, 5 px, and then 15 px. This is just kind of like the standard box shadow I use. Position, like I said, will be absolute. But position wrong, position absolute. Like I said, here we'll have top 0, left 0. And then we're gonna have a background, ground dash color. Make sure we set that to white, otherwise it'll be see-through. I have a border radius of about 12 px. I have a border of 0. And then finally we're gonna have an overflow of hidden. I don't remember why I need overflow hidden on this, but it's there. We'll have a dot message dash more dash modal dash option dash group. If I could type, that'd be cool. And here we'll have a width of 100%. We'll have a height of 44px. We're gonna go ahead and say display of flex. We'll have a justify content in the flex start. We will have an align items in the center. Color will be black on this one. We have a font, dash size of 15px. We'll have a font dash weight of 800, and then we'll have a padding 12px and a gap of about 8px is what I thought looked good. And then finally we'll have a dot message dash more dash modal option group on hover. And then inside here I have a cursor pointer. We'll have a background dash color RGBA 0, 0, 0, and then 0.1 on this one looked the best. So that is good to go. What did I do wrong here? Not colon hover. What's the issue here? Dot message more modal option group hover. I guess it was just mad for no apparent reason. Cool. So that should be good to go. I'm hoping everything looks good here. Let's go ahead and hop back into the message container and get that worked up. So now what we need to do is where we have our display more, we actually want to go ahead and display our message more. Let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy and actually add in the message, message more modal. Go ahead and import that. So now we need to go ahead and do it handle, copy, clicked. Today we're just going to be go ahead and setting up the looks. So this is just going to be nothing for now. And let me make sure we're inside the right thing still. Then we'll have a handle delete clicked is equal to. This will also just be an empty arrow function. We'll have handle, and then last one is reply clicked equal to, and again it's be an empty arrow function. We'll work on the functionality in a later episode. We just want to go ahead and get this looking good and working whenever you click on it. With that being said, let's go and hop into the front end and make sure this is looking good and working how we expect. So let's go and give it a nice refresh here. If we go ahead and click on messages, click on Rick and hover over it, this is looking good. Now I don't think this is exactly how Twitter had it. I might have messed it up or they changed something. So if we go back into Twitter, I guess it is how they had it. Let me refresh, click on this and click on this. So I guess this is how they had it. However, I'm thinking we're missing an index here or something, because it shouldn't be forcing us to scroll. It should be over top. And I don't remember this doing this before. So I'm wondering if I set something up just slightly wrong. Let me look at the code really quick and see if I can see what's going on. Or maybe it was because I had multiple messages, and since it's inside of this, it's trying to scroll. So this might be an issue that we have to kind of fix in a later episode, because I'm guessing what happened is I had another message in here. And then if I do it like this, yeah, so I'm guessing that I had another message in here, and that's why I didn't see that it was acting like this. So I'm going to go ahead and have to figure out a way to fix that. I didn't actually plan for that. And we're already at like 36 minutes of recording. So I think I'm going to go ahead and split up the content for the React one into the next episode anyway. So next episode, we're going to go ahead and try to finish up getting the React pop-up to work. It's a little bit more complicated and has more work in it because we have to loop through some of the emojis and stuff. So that's why it's just not going to fit in this episode. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. I'll look into this bug after we get done with the React stuff. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Everything helps out here with the YouTube algorithm. If you do want to see where we start from absolute scratch, get to the point we are now, there is a playlist either in the description or it's inside of the end card as well, so you go ahead and start from scratch. So that being said, guys, hope you have a great day. This has been Ethan and Coder, and I'll see you guys in the next video.